We are in the middle of Lent, and the cross stands in the center of the church. Father Tom Hopko reposes in the Lord on this day 11 years ago, March 18th. And it's not a coincidence that he spent more of his energy on the theology of the cross than almost anything else. Father Tom had a habit of saying something that sounds deceptively simple. Just look. Stand before the cross. Be quiet. Let something happen to you. Father Tom was convinced, and he was right, that most of our religious busyness, all of our arguing and planning and worrying about who should do what, is precisely a way of not looking, of keeping the cross at a comfortable arm's length, where it can be venerated without actually touching us. He would not allow that. It was, more or less, his whole project. Father Tom had a word that he loved, stavrology, the study of the cross, stavros, cross in Greek. All theology, he insisted, is ultimately stavrology, the logos to stavrou, the word of the cross. The word about God is the word of the cross. This is not a Western idea of the cross as transaction, as payment of a debt to an offended deity. It is something far older and more radical. In the Eastern Church and in the Bible, the cross itself is the glory. The cross does not conceal God. The cross reveals God as love, as mercy, as forgiveness, as absolutely faithful to his creatures. And if that is true, then everything changes. Today's reading from Genesis gives us Noah after the flood, his vineyard, his wine, his shame, his sons. Ham looks and is cursed. Shem and Japheth walk backward, refusing to expose their father's nakedness. The whole scene is profoundly human, weakness and exposure, the choice between contempt and love. But what Father Tom would see in this story, and yes, what the whole Lenten journey presses us to see, is that God himself is the one who is exposed. On the cross, God is stripped. God is mocked. God is looked at. And unlike Ham, we are invited not to look away in contempt, but to look toward in love, because what we see there is not shame. It is the fullest revelation of who God is. Father Tom put it this way: beyond the cross, there is nothing more God can do. Beyond the cross, there is nothing more God can say. Beyond the cross, there is nothing more to be revealed. This is a staggering claim. It means that when we stand before the cross, we are not looking at a problem being solved. We are looking at God fully, finally, without remainder. Proverbs today speaks of the lamp of the righteous shining brightly, and the light of the wicked going out. The cross is, in one sense, the moment when all human lights go out. The disciples flee, the sky darkens, and the one who called himself the light of the world dies. And yet, the Holy Fathers consistently read the death of Christ not as the extinction of light, but as its deepest and most terrible shining. The darkness cannot overcome it, because the darkness is where the light enters. Father Tom was clear about something else. God does not will evil, sin, suffering, or death. God does not want these things, and the great proof of it is the cross, because he comes to obliterate those things. He comes to transform them into victories. The cross is not God's endorsement of suffering. It is God's invasion of suffering from the inside all the way to the bottom. On that cross, God died, and he experienced abandonment by his Father. And the abandonment was real because he totally identified with us. In his love for us, he became exactly what we are: cursed, sinful, and dead. He did not observe our condition from a safe distance. He entered it. He went all the way in. Father Tom spent decades saying this in seminaries, in parish halls, in lectures, in podcasts recorded in his retirement near the monastery in Elwood City. He said it to me at lunches. He said it to his friends. He was not a man who had one theology for the podium and another for ordinary life. The cross was his life's center, and he showed it in his willingness to be present to broken people, to sit with difficulty, to speak plainly about hard things, to receive friendship as grace, and to give it the same way. His last words to at least one of his friends, me, was, "Thank you for being my friend." That is the word of the cross spoken in ordinary human language. The Son of God, having gone all the way to death for love, calls us friends. Not servants, friends. Father Tom knew this. He lived from that knowledge every day, and he died quietly at the 9th hour in that same knowledge. We are in the middle of Lent. The cross stands in the center of the church, asking something of us. Not a feeling, not a theological position, a surrender. A willingness to be looked at by the one who was looked at for us. Our whole identity as Christians is not connected to a teaching or a doctrine or a set of regulations. It is a life totally defined by a person. The person, our Lord. Father Tom believed that with everything he had. May his memory be eternal, and may we, like him, just look.